Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the August 18, 2025 meeting to order. As far as the invocation tonight, I believe that would be by County Manager Lance Metzler, and then Commissioner Richardson, if you would lead us in the pledge after that. If everyone would please rise.
If you would, please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community. We ask you to give the commissioners wisdom and guidance as they discuss the matters before them tonight. Help them to lead with integrity, fairness, and humility, keeping the well-being of our citizens at the heart of every decision. Grant them clarity in discussions, patience in any disparities, and unity in their purpose. Let the commissioners seek fairness, promote peace, and work together for the good of all. Bless this county, our leaders, and our people. May their efforts today bring prosperity, safety, and hope to those served. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
If you'd remain standing and render the appropriate courtesy and follow me as I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item is request to approve tonight's agenda. Gentlemen, you've had a copy of this for a few days. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hall, second by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye.
Aye.
Then the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda tend to be non-controversial in nature. If you have any questions about items on the consent agenda, I would encourage you to reach out to our county manager or the administrative staff, and they'll be glad to provide you with information on items under the consent agenda. With that, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barrow,
Second.
second by Kellum. All in favor, let it be known by the sound of aye.
Aye.
Next is public comment. No one signed up for public comment, so we'll move to item 8, which is presentations. And tonight, first presentation is Dr. Sylvia Cox, our new Executive Director of RCC. So, Dr. Cox.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here with the opportunity. We are going to review some of the great highlights from the year for the quarter penny sales tax, and you all have the reference in your packets, but we wanted to go over a couple of items for everyone to share. We wanted to first start, can you believe that almost a year ago was the opening of the Workforce Center for Development, and that is in wonderful part of this partnership that we have with the county. And to remind you, a lot of advanced manufacturing, computer integrated machining, robotics, and the Small Business Center along with the Corporate Training Center is in there. Students, business industry folks can all come to that area and have a hub for those wonderful activities, workforce development, and will be an opportunity, as you know, many of you know Rocket Top. There'll also be opportunities for work-based learning, and that's a hub, and that's all thanks to the citizens for the quarter penny sales tax.
Wait, there we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now you can see, and we're really thankful for all of those, and much of the quarter penny sales tax, of course, goes to that and the repayment of the building. So let's also take a look at some of the additional things that we did there. Data infrastructure. There were a lot of things for that first time kickoff that we needed to fund, CNC wiring connections, computer labs to support the different programs, and the workbenches for mechatronics and robotics labs. So lots of different innovative products that are in that building, and also it's a testament to the growing need for advanced manufacturing in our area. And you'll see students really here enjoying the different classes, pneumatics, we've got robotics, and many different advanced manufacturing CNC machines that those students can learn from, very advanced technological, but also some more of the basics that you have in those industry here, all to support Rockingham County's growing advanced manufacturing influence. And I wanted to highlight that what we did with those funds last year too was the welding lab. So Industrial Technologies 2 renovation was used with a 1/4 sales tax, and we moved from 17 welding booths to 40. But not just were they just one things. These booths have multi-processing welding in each one, so really you can start MIG, TIG, all the different aspects of welding in one booth. So it's really helps us to expand the program, but it's also efficient with our dollars too, because students can use and learn all of those things and really expands that area efficiently. We also have technology and equipment. We are, John Pendleton here, you'll see him with robotics, but he's also an NC3, a National Coalition of Certification Instructor. And here you see him in the Envision Lab and other mechatronics, all these things. Sales tax has been able to fund those, support those. So not only are we educating our students now, but we're also looking at to the future. He also, through a Duke grant, was able to work with the high school teachers this summer, and they got certifications, again, expanding that. The Cisco Networking Academy, you'll see that we introduced and used quite a bit of those funds for that. That's to bring you into entry-level IT jobs and advances into those, and we started those in spring. Security cameras have been able to allow us to really protect those students, employees, and the different equipments that we have purchased, and be able to really see what's going on campus and to keep our campus really safe. So all of those things were benefits from last year's quarter penny sales tax funds. So we'll look at the request that we have for this year. You'll see in your packet on page 4 and 5 an overview of the reoccurring expenses for the Center for Workforce Development, and we'll go over some of the requests for the technology and equipment. Those specifics that we're looking at, we talked a lot about the Center for Workforce Development, but also healthcare is a major impact into workforce development, and you see here those requests to expand those. Respiratory therapy, ventilator, that program is growing. Emergency medical services is growing, a mannequin for it. And the nursing hospital simulation equipment needs to be upgraded, so those funds would address those as well. All growing needs on both the short-term workforce development side and our degree programs. We also additionally are asking for 2 virtual welders. Of course, if you want to weld, you want sparks and fire. But if you're not very good with sparks and fire, we can put you on a virtual welder and let you remediate until you can get a little bit better. That accelerates you often to understand what you're doing and move back to the sparks and fire. And it also, as you'll see here, you see the Envision students here again. That partnership with Rockingham County Schools and Rockingham County Economic Development and the college allows us to let students get a peek into what that looks like. And various technology needs. You'll see a Zoom room there. There's HyFlex rooms that allows students to engage while online, go back and look at those videos later to improve learning. And there's a lot of software and equipment for the different workforce programs. the Emergency Service Training Center. There's also an ask for a metal building, thanks to the Fire Department in Madison. They are going to donate a fire engine to us, and so that'll allow the metal building to keep that safe as well as other pieces of equipment. And the boat ramp dock allows us to do some water training out in the pond, which is always, unfortunately, a need. Construction trades, we're kicking that program off this fall along with the CTE High School. So we are asking for a metal building. That'll allow us to start with small sheds, small things, but eventually the goal is to build a house, and that will keep it confined and allow us to be able to do that. And it will also allow some renovations for a classroom as well. So again, we see a need for that across the board, but it also build a pipeline from the high school into those construction trades programs. Finally, we're really excited about this. You'll see, and you all have ones of these, a little QR code, and we've created a logo for the quarter-cent sales tax. This will take you to our website, and we already have things up that we've utilized through the years for the quarter-penny sales tax, and we'll continue to do that. That also will give the citizens of Rockingham County, when they see this logo, they'll connect it. That's their funds at work, and we want to be very thankful for everything we've had in the last few years, but we also want an ongoing conversation with the county so that they can see this logo and see those things that we're doing with them while they're happening, and then go to the website and see it as it continues to grow, because it is a great benefit to the college, and we are very thankful to the commissioners and the county for their investment, and know that it's going to continue to reap benefits for workforce development in this county. So, do you all have any questions?
Dr. Cox, you've been pretty busy since you arrived on station. We appreciate that.
Thank
Your energy is very welcome. Perhaps you could share with us some of the collaborations you've had on behalf of the college with other educational institutions, and perhaps job opportunities that you're seeking out, particularly in coordination with our economic development team.
We had a big regional convening at GTCC when the announcement for Jet Zero was announced. There was 5 presidents and an executive president there, so that we can start talking about how we can regionally approach the workforce development that will spur from that. I've also been working a lot with Rockingham County Schools as we've been launching and actually, today's first day of class for the whole college, but a week ago, we launched the CTE High School, so we've been working in collaboration with them. Again, that's that pipeline, economic development. It's already been laid out so well. Those 3 big heavy hitters are healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and construction. So we've been working a lot on how we can build those local articulations from high school to college, and how we can continue that work to build a workforce here in this county.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Cox, thank you and your staff for being here tonight.
They're an amazing staff.
We appreciate, yes. Looking through the list that you provided us, I'm very tickled with most of it.
Okay.
I just want to be sure to say,
Yes, sir.
the promise was made to the public when this was put in place, that this money would be for workforce development.
Yes, sir.
As we look at the list, and we talked about it last year too, that a little bit of money is going to current operations. And in this year, it looks like you've got a capital project manager that you'll be adding. And I may be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing.
Yes, sir.
I just want to caution you to be sure that we don't have project creep. We need to be sure these funds are going towards workforce development, like we promised the public. And for the majority of these, I think they're great. I especially am tickled to see the construction trade start up.
Right.
And so that's very well needed in this community. So thank you, but I will caution you, just to be sure, as y'all are looking at things, we made a promise to the public when this was approved in 2018.
Yes. Well, we are going to be really focused on workforce development. That's the heart of most community colleges, but definitely here. It's a big initiative for me. The capital project manager is one that was, it's reoccurring, so it is one that we'll be cautious of and be aware of. But we also are working towards everything that we're doing be about workforce development in some fashion or other, even if those students are transferring to the university. But we'll be cognizant. We want to be more transparent so you can watch it as it is happening, and we appreciate the feedback.
Thank you. And one more thing, thank you for this.
Yes.
This is, I just clicked on it a minute ago.
And it worked, right?
Yes, it worked. It was very informative. So I
Good.
encourage the public to get involved, because that's one of the questions we've been asked a lot. What is the college doing? What are they doing? Where's the money going? So that will be very helpful. So thank you, and thank you to your staff for that.
Absolutely. They did a really great job. We hope when you see this from now on, that the whole community will start thinking about this is where our dollars are going. And it is appropriately so that we should be good stewards and that we should have these questions about these funds, because it's a great opportunity for this college and this community. But we're going to keep talking, and you're going to be very proud of the work that we continue to do.
I'm sure.
I know a lot of your time is devoted to other things other than just the quarter-cent sales tax and the initiatives there. I appreciate the time that you're spending elsewhere as well. I know we've had a meeting at PTI and talked about how the airport can benefit Rockingham County, and so we appreciate everything that you and your team are doing.
Well, I have to give kudos again to our liaison, Commissioner Richardson. He is being very active and helping us to connect dots. So, and all of you have been very generous, as well as the community has been very generous to connect me with folks, and that's why I've been able to do what I've been able to do, and the great staff behind me. I feel a little bit, I don't talk about it too much at the other presidents' meetings, because I have such an amazing staff of veteran folks that are so knowledgeable that it makes the work so much easier. But this community has been very gracious to me and you all, and I really appreciate it. And we will keep working hard so that all the citizens know what we're doing, are excited about it, and very proud of it, as many people have told me over and over about their great RCC story. We're just going to keep those great stories coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Doctor. Oh, I'm sorry.
As Commissioner Hall was talking about, like the construction projects you have going on, the workforce development, you had some welding going on.
Yes, sir.
Can, like for the public, could you talk about, if I went into welding, is there companies looking for me once I graduate, or is there stuff set up to where they come from the college straight into a job opportunity?
So a lot of people like welders, and there are job opportunities, people coming in, and there are also opportunities. We hope to do some more internships with them. But welding in general is a profession that transcends into lots of different jobs, opportunities. But they're also, employers love welders. They are not afraid to get dirty, not afraid of the work. And so we see them coming very often to want to partake into getting those folks into different jobs. And they are here. There's also, a regional approach to welding. It is still a work that is extremely needed everywhere and will continue as we go. Even Department of Transportation has welders. So they're kind of popping up around in lots of different jobs.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for the question. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Cox.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
You too. Next, Todd Hurst.
Okay, it's not showing, is it?
Allison's coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allison.
All right, yes, thank you, Allison.
Yeah, it's just that little button,
Okay,
and that clicker's right there for you.
all righty, okay. Thank you. Good evening, Chairman and the Board. For those that do not know me, I'm Todd Hurst, Rockingham County Tax Administrator, and have lived in Rockingham County all my life. I'm going to be presenting a PowerPoint on the proposal of advancing from a 2029 5-year revaluation to a 2028 4-year revaluation. North Carolina general statutes requires all 100 counties to reappraise real property at least once every 8 years. The two different NCDOR ratios that affect a revaluation are the NCDOR Sales Assessment Ratio Study and the Public Service Company Ratio. I'm going to be giving an explanation of both of these ratios. First ratio is the Sales Assessment Ratio Study. The Sales Assessment Ratio Study is based on an NCDOR sample of real estate sales within each county from the previous year. The sales ratio is determined by dividing the assessed value by its actual price. Our current ratio is estimately 91% and won't be final out until April of May of 26 for the 25 year. If an average home sells for $100,000 and we are valued at $116,000, we are valued at 116%. If a home sells for $84,000, we are valued at 84%. The NCDOR percentage takes all the data and then they calculate the median ratio, which is typical between assessed value and market value. The median is preferred over the mean average because it is less affected by unusual sales, which is outliers. The statutes require all counties based on a population which is greater than 75,000, which is us, and a median which is greater than 115% or less than 85% to conduct a reappraisal by January 1 of the third year following notification. For us, in this case, the earliest date could be January 1, 2029. The second ratio is the Public Service Company ratio, which consists of state-assessed properties such as Duke Energy, Gas and Pipeline, sale companies are examples. If the sales assessment ratio drops below 90% in the fourth year, which would be January 1, 2028, the public service companies will equalize. Example, in 23, Rockingham County was over $1.068 billion, which caused an extremely large loss in $249 million tax assessed value and $1.73 million in tax dollars, and the board had voted to advance the revaluation from an 8-year to a 5-year. This loss affected Rockingham County, towns, cities, fire departments when budgeting, and all of us taxpaying citizens with assessed values and tax rates. Advancing the revaluation from a 5-year to a 4-year stops all the equalization and the stress for everyone and keeps us more in line with the fair market value, whether the market increases or decreases. Pioneer Appraisal was hired through the Rockingham County RFP, request for proposal process, and completed the 2024 revaluation. Rockingham County has 4 RFP bids for the 2028 reappraisal for the desktop reappraisal, ranging from $1,930,000 highest bid to $1,140,945, with Pioneer being the lowest bid. Pioneer included street imagery on all improved parcels and field visits. The other bids included no street imagery and charged from $24.95 per parcel after a certain percentage of visits to $13 per every parcel per field visit. Rockingham County currently uses a 6-inch pixel for our viewing. We call it pictometry or eagle view. With the last flight being 2024, and we have $47,520 left on this contract. My proposal is to upgrade to a 3-inch pixel with the cost of $179,400. The flight would be in December of this year to January of next year, and is much needed since the desktop reappraisal is the lowest cost reevaluation, and most of the work is in the office instead of in the field. This will be a benefit to Rockingham County, all Rockingham County services, citizens of Rockingham County with public safety and disaster preparedness and planning. The next two slides shows the difference between current 6-inch imagery to 3-inch imagery with frontal and backside views of a parcel.
Yeah, excuse me, Todd, we're not talking about 6-inch pixels. Would you explain to the public that a pixel illustrates 3 versus 6 inches so that they can appreciate the slide you're going to show in a second?
Yes, we currently have been on the 6-inch pixel plan, which is the lowest pixel plan now that Pictometry EagleView has, because we really didn't need the 3-inch, because we could go out and do the visits, we could tell enough to see basically what was on the property, but it fit good for years since we've had it. We've had it since 2013. And from seeing the new imagery that's out now, actually they have a 1-inch pixel that's above this here, but I'm only presenting the 3-inch tonight because you can see the clarity and the imagery and how it saves in every aspect, from field visits, from going out. We actually used it the other day on a parcel that we had here. And this here, the 3-inch pixels is actually from Guilford imagery. We actually can pick up the Guilford line, and this is how I got these aerial shots of the same home, because this is on the Guilford County line. On this slide here, you can see from the 6-inch to the 3-inch pixel, you can see the outside dimensions of the home on the 3-inch better. You can see the roof lines, the side views, the windows on the home. And then when you're working in office, it's going to reduce the field visits and making it more accurate in data for us as for the citizens and, when we're valuing the property. On the back side of the home, you can see the fireplace in the center on the 3-inch pixel, whereas on the 6-inch pixel, it's harder to see. You can see the patio doors better on the 3-inch pixel than the 6-inch. You can see the deck, the patio. You can see the storage building, and you can actually see the windows on the 3-inch compared to the 6-inch. And also, these both are zoomed in the same amount. So when you zoom in on the 3-inch, it's more clearer than on the 6-inch because it's half, of what the 6-inch was. And me and Mr. Matzers had fun with this one. You can see the rocks in the side over there. We had fun trying to figure out what those was, but they're actually rocks in the backyard back there to the right of the trampoline. So in closing, my proposal is to advance to a 4-year desktop revaluation, which avoids public service company equalization and stops the mandated revaluation if the sale assessment ratio decreases below 85% or above 115%. Hire Pioneer Appraisal with the lowest RAP bid at $1,140,945. Also having them as consultants for major appeals during a non-reevaluation timeline. Paying the $47,520 on the 6-inch remaining contract, which needs to be paid before the December 25th to January 26th new 3-inch flight. And the new flight cost would be $179,400 and can be paid in 3 installments of $59,800, beginning around March 26th, and it would go through March 29, and would be the same contract cost for the next 2032 revaluation, pending the approval of the advancement. The next flight would be around January 2030, and the timeline for the 2028 reappraisal work should start in November to December of this year and finish in December of 27, and then send out notices by February 1, 2028. So thank you, Chairman and the board, for listening to my recommendation for advancing from a 5-year 2029 revaluation to a 4-year 2028 revaluation. And if anyone would like a copy of this presentation, feel free to email me at taxadm@rockingham.county.nc.gov. Any questions or?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd, so for people that are sitting at home, I'm sure they hear reevaluation, their ears perk up. So can you explain, well, first, let me ask you, so back in the last reevaluation, we did the full listed measure, which was the first time that had been done in how many years?
Oh, it's numerous years, Houston. It's been probably 2000, at least, since it had been done.
Okay, and this time we're doing the desktop, which is more along the lines of what we had traditionally been doing since then. So is it fair to say that one of the benefits of moving to a 4-year reevaluation is to help prevent some of the sticker shock that was seen during the last reevaluation?
Yes. It, what it does is a lot of people don't, a lot of the public doesn't realize that if, we always pray this doesn't happen, but if the market dropped, okay, say the market dropped by next May when we turn our sales file in, say it went below the 85%, they're going to mandate us to do a revaluation by January 1 of 2029 anyway, which we're already scheduled to do one by then. But the thing is that by doing one earlier, it keeps us more into fair market value. If the market drops, the public don't have to pay as long as they would as if we kept it longer. If it increased, I know they say, oh, yeah, the counties get more money, but it's not that. It's just the state is going to mandate us to do one either way. And let alone with that, if the tax rate, it affects the public service companies, which affects the tax rates and affects the percentage on the amount of money, extra that could affect us all as citizens here having to pay extra on our tax rates if we don't keep it more equalized, in with the 4-year.
To sum it up, is it fair to say that by moving to a 4-year that it's people will see less variance in their assessments?
I would say yes. Right now, it's holding around 91%, and that's what's the reason I'm here now. If it wasn't so close to that 90% line, I wouldn't be as concerned. If it was 98 or 97 right now, I wouldn't be standing up here saying I'd say we should be okay. But what it's going to do, it's going to affect us if it goes below 90, especially within the 4th year. And the market, from what we're seeing now, hasn't, the older homes aren't selling as much as the newer homes, but the new homes are still booming, and it's going to make it better by putting it all on that way, for the public and us to at the county.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Todd, so you mentioned the 90% mark. What is I know before we were dealing with the 85% mark. What's the 90% mark? If you could explain that a little bit more, please.
Okay.
As far as the impact of something going above or below the 90.
Oh, if the 90% mark is a very imperative mark in our county where we are so huge in public utility. If we wasn't as huge in public utility, it wouldn't affect us as bad, but Duke being our biggest taxpayer in the county, and then the state assesses them. So the 85 to 115 mark is a sales ratio study, but the 90 mark is the public utility. So what happens is in the 4th year, if our ratio, say our ratio was 88%, the state wouldn't mandate us to do a reval. But we're going to lose whatever percentage that is from the state assessed properties, which will affect us, all, since we're so huge in value, because that's why we equalize it in order to make the fair market value, to make it more, to get the market back up. That's how the state does it. They do it on the public service company.
So if it's more than 10% off, you start losing on the utility tax, is what
Yes.
you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point, we're less than 2%
Right.
from the 10% mark. With the numbers holding steady from last year, so we've had a fairly consistent market for the past, I guess you can say, year and a half. And you're asking to go, because we're on a 5-year plan, you're asking us to reduce it by 1 year, is that right? But the state mandate is actually 8 years, other than anything as far as the variance in sales ratio.
Right. The state is they're not recommending it as much now. They're recommending some counties actually doing a 2-year revaluation. But that's the bigger counties like Wake and them. They're looking at going to a 2-year, so it's not as much culture shock on people. But yes, it's 8-year by law, and we're one of the ones where can you do an 8-year. We were on an 8-year previously, and since I came in 2007, that was at the time that we had a revaluation plan. We stopped it, redid it, and we did it in 11, and from 11 to 19, it wasn't much change. In our 19 market, we was 100.77%. Whereas when we did this valuation, we wasn't right at 100% because we didn't really want to be, because if the market tweaked, everybody would be paying, too much than the market was. So we kept it about 98.78%. But when we got our ratio last year, we done dropped to 91% after 1 year. So then I saw it again, and I was like, we may want to look at doing this, so we don't run into the aspect of affecting taxpayers like it did last time. It affected all counties, and the ones now this year that are doing a revaluation, they're catching it. But we were at 69.5% right at it last reval. And the median for the public utility was 75%. It's two different values. So we still didn't lose as much as we could have lost last revaluation. And by doing it 1 year early, we would have doubled that amount. We would have lost another amount if we hadn't done it early.
Any other questions before we have any discussion or? Well, I'll tell you, part of my concern is there's some talk at the national level that deals with reevaluations and what happens as far as local governments. We've made a pretty concerted effort to reduce rates, whereas not all local governments do that. And don't know what the end result at the national level is going to be. But there has been quite a bit of discussion there, and just don't know where it's headed. So personally, I'd like to see what they're doing at the national level as far as revals, and what they're going to do as far as replacing the revenue if they take any action. Don't know if they're going to take any action or not, but it's something that I'm willing to see what happens as far as them let it play out a little bit. So. Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Hurst, with that in mind, if we were to vote to proceed with this tonight, I assume you're asking for a vote to proceed, is there an escape clause in the contract? Should something change on the national or state level, would there be an escape clause from that contract?
I'm sure there could be on there. We just lose the money from the time that they actually started the work. So if they didn't start till January and something happened between now and then, I'm sure
So, I mean, they'd be compensated for the work they've done.
Yes, yes.
I would assume we wouldn't have to lose money that they haven't earned.
Right.
I would ask that council look at that if we choose to move forward before we sign a contract.
When would be the time you would need to know this? Whether we move forward? Because you said that the flights would take place in what, December and January?
Yes, they would need at least 2 years to do this, since we're over 55,000 parcels. Now, we're over 42,000 improved. So they would go out and we'd view they would go out and view all the improved parcels in the field. I would say by November, I would need to know if they was going to start in December.
Okay, because they'd need some sort of notice to be able to get in the air and to start it,
Right.
to prepare for it. Okay.
How long have they agreed to hold their price on this bid?
Oh, he'll hold it, because he did it for us last time, and I feel pretty sure he'll hold that price for a few months.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I would ask that Mr. Hurst get with our council and be sure that we have proper escape clause, if you would, in this, and if we want to bring it back and entertain it at another time, I'd be fine with that, if we have time to do that. And it sounds like we do. We could entertain it in September.
Yes.
I would think as far as drafting some sort of addendum or additional paragraph, it would probably be a fairly quick turnaround.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, I guess I just have a question for you. So I'm not familiar with what's going on the federal level. So do you anticipate we'll have any clarity from Washington, D.C. between now and November?
That I don't know. There's been several news conferences and I guess you can say points of order from whether it's the president or the vice president or some others in his cabinet that talk about local governments and reappraisals and just the dislike of the appreciation falling on the property owner when they haven't attempted to cash out. But don't know that they've got a plan, haven't heard anything beyond that. But knowing that his operation oftentimes is putting out bits and pieces of information and then a grand plan coming together afterwards, don't know what he's doing on this one, but
Did Commissioner Hall make a motion?
I guess it could be, but ultimately, if we table the thing, it doesn't mean that we necessarily have to have a formal motion. We can just not act tonight and put it on the next agenda if we choose to do that. If Clyde believes he'd have it back by the next agenda or the one after that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, and if somebody wanted to make a motion of some sort, they certainly can, and but that's, if y'all are okay with tabling it, we'll move on to new business. Okay? All right. Thank you. Next item is new business.
Yes, sir.
No, sir. All right. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Kellum.
We received a letter to the board. Some others may have received it. Everything that goes on, I think this would be appropriate time to bring this to light. It was over EMS call. So the letter states, to whom it may concern. I'm writing this email to inform you of a stellar work performed by our EMS staff. Daniel Austin and Drew Lucas, Hannah Bullins, and Bobby Caton. M2 was dispatched to a 7-month-old CPR in progress, and M3 quickly responded with M2. Both the units arrived at the same time. Bobby and Hannah gained entry into the home, grabbed the 7-month-old, and quickly returned to M2 truck where CPR remained in progress. Hannah drove this EMS unit to the hospital, which was approximately 5 minutes away. En route to the hospital, we were able to get lung sounds, pulse monitoring, and some color to return to the skin. And they did a ECG reading. Upon arrival to the hospital in Reevesville, they stayed and assisted the staff due to persistence to not give up, and were able to gain the pulse and get the child intubated. Air Care was summoned to the hospital, and they went on to say that they couldn't have got this or been, to where they're at today if it was not for our EMS staff. So they all wanted to thank all involved, which was CCOM, Hannah Bullins, Daniel Austin, Bobby Caton, the staff at UNCR, and everybody else that played a part. And it just shows how our people are dedicated to their job and the performance they did. So I want to say thank you for all that they did to help save this life of this child. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, we appreciate the folks from the college being here tonight. Very exciting to hear those wonderful things happening, and new news, new things, new ideas. So we appreciate you folks being here tonight. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Chair.
Thank everybody that came and all the folks listening in. Especially appreciate the presentation from the community college here. And Dr. Cox made mention of our new early college occupational training. And we want to invite you back to explain that at a future meeting, because I think the public needs to know about this. This is a pilot program in the state of North Carolina, and I'm sure parents as well as students will be interested in this opportunity. So thanks for what you prepared tonight, and hopefully you'll come back to us. I'd like to add on to what Commissioner Callum was talking about, because in addition to the EMS folks, and I'll mention their name again, Daniel Austin, Drew Lucas, Hannah Bullins, and Bobby Clayton, there was a Rockingham County deputy from the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department that I believe was the initial responder at 4 in the morning, and that was Deputy Matthew Royals. And I think all the people involved in this, done a little research on it, and certainly all the people involved, as a minimum, you say were professional, but not only were they professional, they were very timely and responsive to the point where a life was saved without a doubt. So my congratulations and sincere appreciation to the professionals in both the Sheriff's Department and the EMS.
Thank you. Commissioner Barrow?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would also like to echo Commissioner Richardson and Commissioner Callum's points on EMS in our Sheriff's Office. It was, when I read the email, it was tough to get through. I just had a baby last year, and as I was reading it, it was made me very thankful that we have people like that in Rockingham County. So congratulations to those folks, and thank you for your dedication. Also, I want to give a reminder, tomorrow night, the Eden Drive-In is hosting a viewing for Tommy Kawazi, a Eden boy who will be competing for UFC tomorrow night. The gates open at 6, and the show starts at 8 o'clock. So it's free to the public. Anybody who wants to come support Tommy. Tommy's father works for the county over at the Sheriff's Office, so we're wishing him best of luck. Also, coming up this week, we're on the 22nd, at the Co-op Extension Building, DSS is hosting a back-to-school bingo. There are going to be hot dogs and bingo, and they will also be doing an information session in regards to fostering children This is still a huge ongoing issue for us here in the county. As of today, the county has 166 kids in custody, and we just don't have enough foster families that are willing to step up for that. As if coming into custody of the county is not traumatic enough, we have to often send these kids out of the county for homes, which disrupts their social lives at school and just really makes a bad situation worse. So if you're out there and you're willing to foster a child, or if you know somebody in your family who'd be willing to, please reach out to us at DSS. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Cox and your entire team, thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate the update and the work that you're doing at the college. And I believe are planning at the next meeting, as far as those first responders, a recognition. I believe that's the next meeting that's planned. Is that right?
The first or the second, we'll try to get the
Okay.
first one there.
All right. And with that, the next meeting is not going to be held on a Monday night due to Labor Day holiday. So the next meeting is September the 2nd, Tuesday night at 6:30 here at the Governmental Center. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Barrow.
Second.
And second by Commissioner Hall. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.